Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's get going. So, what I want to look at today is to move out of the sota because it was kind of upsetting me in a way, but to look at the nicest part of the parsha, which the nicest part is, of course, the Birkat Kohanim, and to try and understand it and get a little bit of insight in it. So the Torah says, "Dab Bamid Barvav." Chaf Bet, the Torah says, "V'adeber Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber Aaron ve'banav lemor." Speak to Aaron and his sons and say to them, "Kol tabaruchu b'nei Israel." This is how you have to bless b'nei Israel. Amor lahem. Amor lahem is to say to them. So, like the question is, what does this amor lahem mean? Because if you're going to say, or should just say, b'nei Israel, this is how you must make the bracha. So the Netziv points out, he says that there are two types of Birkat Kohanim that were in the Beit HaMikdash. The first one is Nasiat Kapayim. The first one is the lifting of the hands, is that like like a person speaking to his friend, and that's what they do, they speak to us. And he says that the way that they speak is a means of engagement. So the one brocha is that one. The other one is the brocha within tefillah as well. So in this way, we're going to see now the way that the Kohanim have to speak in an engagement and in a connected way to the people, and they have to give them a bracha. So what is the bracha? Let's look at the bracha. So the bracha, Yivarecha Hashem v'yishmerecha, Yar Hashem panav elecha v'yichunecha, Yisa Hashem panav elecha v'sem lecha shalom. The words, just to point out one part of this, just very quickly. If you count the words, so Yivarecha Hashem v'yishmerecha is 3, Yar Hashem panav elecha v'yichunecha is 5, so that gives you 8, and then Yisa Hashem panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom is 7. It gives you a total of 15. So there is an idea that we know that the yad is I've spoken about this before from what I remember. Yad is Yud Daled, which is 14, and that's the 14 digits on the hand. So in each of your fingers, you've got 4, which gives you 12. And then your thumb is another 2, and that gives you 14. But the whole thing here is that when, for example, when you make Kiddush, so the minhag is to hold your Kiddush cup in the palm of your hand. Why is that? Because your hand is the 14 and the palm is the 15th, and the 15th word is shalom, and shalom is the kli, which is machzik, which holds all the brocha. So that's just an idea in the 15 words. But let's try and understand on a bit of a deeper level what this all means to be. So it says, Yivarecha Hashem v'yishmerecha. So the Netziv points out, he says, says, included in this whole concept is that you can't make, the Netziv has this thing about making brochas. And when you give a person a brocha, you've got to give them a brocha for which they need. So he says that, for example, a person who is oisek b'Torah b'limudo, a person who's learning Torah should get a bracha that his learning should be better. Oisek b'mischarasei, person who's busy in business, so the bracha should come in that. Yivarech Hashem really means that I, as the Kohen, am giving you a bracha that which you are busy with should see bracha in it. In a tosefet, l'chol adam b'ma sheyeshto. It should be an added thing. A brocha means an added thing. It's not just a new thing, but the brocha is added to that which you're already having. That a person should increase. V'yishmerecha says the Netziv, and everyone has the same concept. He says v'yishmerecha the whole brocha by shmira. Every single brocha requires shmira. Shelo yafchu l'royetz chas v'sholom. In order that it doesn't go we would say like pear-shaped. So he says, what do you mean by that? If you're saying to me that let's say I'm a big Talmid Chacham, and you give me a bracha that shall become even bigger Talmid Chacham. I'm not saying I am. I'm just saying that's the bracha. He says, what's it going to be? Where's it going to go? So he says an amazing thing. He says, for example, a Baal Torah, a person who is learning Torah is a big Talmid Chacham. What does he need to be guarded from? Where's the shadow of the bracha of his Torah learning? And he says very simply, he's got to be guarded from minagaiva, he's got to be guarded from arrogance, because a person can become such a big Talmid Chacham that you start using their learning in an arrogant way. a person to become wealthy. And then when a person becomes wealthy, why? That he can become so wealthy that he starts becoming selfish because he's saying, "Oh, this is all mine," etc., etc., etc. Not only from obviously from their wealth being taken, kos v'shalom, through theft or robbery or something like that, but actually within the midot that a person has, there needs to be brocha that, shmira, guarding on the brocha that one receives, that a person is able to maintain themselves within that in that space. And we know the stories of people who win like lotteries and things like that, that they sometimes are unable to handle the enormous wealth, and they actually drop them down. Yavarech Hashem v'yishmerecha, fundamental. Ya'er Hashem panav elecha v'chuneka. What does it mean, Ya'er Hashem panav elecha? So he says that the Orach Chaim has got a beautiful idea. He says, Ya'er Hashem. What does it mean? That we ask Hashem to shine His face upon us. He says, Perish shelo yeh mesach hamavdil ben Yisrael avim shebashamayim. Says, you know what the problem is in our lives? In our lives is that we often don't see the light of Hashem. We don't see the light of the blessings that we have, because there's like this this veil between us and Hashem. And Ya'er Hashem panav elecha is a bracha that the Kohanim give us, that we should be able to perceive the light of Hashem in a real way. Vichuneka, that we should get chayin. So the Netziv explains, what does it mean? Vichuneka. Vichuneka means that within the acceptance of the tefillah, there should be a level of chen and chesed, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us that which we ask for, that not only that we can feel it, but it's actually be able to be perceived. And then he says even more than that. He says that our ability to connect into the light of the Ribono Shel Olam gives us a possibility. Sorry about the background music, that's just a function. That our ability to connect to the light of the Ribono Shel Olam gives us the ability to daven not only for ourselves, but to daven for others. And that's chayin. That's what we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu for. Shetekubal tfilatcha gam avur acheru. That Hashem should bless us, that our tefillah should also be heard when we daven for other people as well, not only for ourselves, which is a fundamental part, obviously, of being a Jew and having v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, loving one another. And finally, Yisa Hashem panav elecha. Yisa Hashem, the Hashem panav, the face of Hashem. So explains the Netziv, such a beautiful idea. He says that when it speaks about panav, it means midotav. It means the midas of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to Yisa Hashem panav, to that those midot that He have should be lifted up towards us. And he says that the same thing is that with a human being, that our faces contain within them the manifestation of what we're feeling. If so, we're feeling happy, we smile. If we're feeling upset, we don't smile. If we're feeling cross, we frown. And that's what we're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu to Yisa Hashem panav elecha, His face, the faces that He has, the midot that He has, that they are midot of positivity. Yisa means to uplift. Where we say, even in this week's parsha, the beginning Naso, to lift them up. It speaks about Yaakov Avinu, that Vayisai Raglav, and the Netziv says there, Vayisai Raglav, he lifted his legs. Why did he lift? Because he had a feeling of warmth, of love, of connection, of desire, of positivity, of a goal, of a vision. And so that's what Yisa Hashem panav means, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should see us in a positive way. V'yasem lecha shalom, says the Netziv very simply. After all these brachas of Yavarechacha, Yashem panav elecha v'chunecha, our tefillahs are being heard. We've got wealth, we've got the brachas, everything is expanding, everything's wonderful. Hashem is looking at us favorably. Fundamentally, what do we need? Mevarchim bekli amachzikotam. We need to have that vessel that is going to hold them. Shebeli shalom ein nachas b'shum bracha. Because if we don't have shalom, there's no nachas in any bracha. And that's such a fundamental thing. We know that we can have the best day in the world, but if we come home and there's a certain amount of let's say tension in the home, then all that bracha, everything just falls apart, because ultimately there ain't nachas b'shum bracha. There's no nachas in any bracha that we have, if there isn't shalom, if there isn't harmony, if there isn't the connection. And then, now we don't say this, but when Chabad gives this bracha, they always say this last pasuk, V'shamu et shmi al b'nei Yisrael v'ani avarachem. And I think this is part of the key of the bracha. V'shamu et shmi al b'nei Yisrael al b'nei Yisrael v'ani avarachem. It's not only that we're asking for the bracha, but it's something more than that. As the Netziv says, she'itpalelu l'hashrot kavod shmo aleim b'chol prat. That in every aspect of those bracha, we should be able to perceive the name of Hashem, and others should be able to perceive that through our actions, the name of Hashem, v'ani avarachem. And when we get that, the bracha becomes again. It's a doubled up bracha. We ask for the bracha, Yivarecha Hashem. We put our name, the name of Hashem is implanted in those brachas because of the manner in which we receive and behave in those brachas, and then those brachas are doubled. So please God, we should all receive the brachas of Hashem through kindness, through love, the way that we would like to be able to daven for others, and those tefillahs should be heard. But ultimately, we should feel the sense of shalom, the sense of harmony, both communally, within our own homes, and of course within ourselves. That's also a part of that. And when we feel that, please God, we should feel the shame of Hashem within us, and get even a double bracha going into this beautiful Shabbos. Have a wonderful Shabbos, everybody. God bless.